What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Life is Strange, Double Exposure, Chloe, Max, the whole thing. We actually got some interesting, I want to say drama. This was actually late last week. It was a back and forth on Twitter, and it kind of stemmed from not trusting Deck 9. It's like, okay, well, this is interesting, right? There's a former employee in this drama. There's a current employee in this drama, but it all connects to Max and Chloe. So let's kind of take you down the rabbit hole. Again, kind of just started because of Happy National Girlfriend Day in terms of Max and Chloe, right? Don't Not It actually is the originator, right? They posted that tweet. So we go down and it's just talking about, how they don't really believe that this is going to work out in terms of double exposure and, what's the dilemma if you put Chloe in versus not putting her. And we've talked about actually quite a bit of that on this channel, right? Well, there was actually this thread from this former employee that worked there, right? And this person, this was back in like late June, okay? This person's not there. And from the talk back and forth, this person doesn't seem all that well liked, although the person talks about this moral conundrum with saving Chloe versus not saving Chloe at the end of Life is Strange. And this person posted like a huge long thread. We're not going to read all of it, but we will read some of it. And it's talking about the employees at Deck 9. Now, this person, I believe, nuked this entire thread, and this person started blocking like everybody in sight, okay? So I don't know this person. They haven't blocked me, and I don't really think it's anything against them. This kind of just got the conversation going. So what this is basically saying, and the very first tweet, while working on double exposure, we often debated the final choice in the original Life is Strange. The idea kept coming up that choosing Chloe over everyone in Arcadia Bay wasn't just the wrong choice, but the evil choice. I have some thoughts about that. And he goes on, like 10 more tweets. And what it basically is, from at least people kind of analyzing it, is it's more about the studio from this person's point of view. It was more about the other employees, that they felt that choosing Chloe was more evil than it even was like a right or wrong choice. This person didn't necessarily like pick a side, but he kind of put it on like the other employees, right? Now, okay, well, that's not great. And we'll talk about that in a second. So this goes back and forth and back and forth. And eventually we get a current employee from Deck 9. And he says, "Girls, ladies, honeys, someone has been feeding you nonsense. Please wait for the game. We would never do you wrong like that." And he's talking about a lot of these tweets that are talking about Chloe just being completely absent, which is interesting, right? So that's that first tweet. Then they go back and forth, and he says, "I understand your fears completely. No offense taken. While we're limited in what we can and can't do, trust me when I say most of the team is always in your corner and fighting the good fight for the fans. Life is Strange wouldn't be what it is without y'all, and we hear and see you always." And then kind of his final word on it is, "I will always share your words and fight for this for y'all, and I encourage y'all to continue speaking up about it. Your voices and passion are a large part of what keeps Life is Strange going. Square is listening. Keep speaking passionately and civilly like this too." Now, just to that last point, by the way, I think that's important, right? Like I've always tried to come across on this channel where we can speak our mind. We have loads of disagreements, like me and the comment section, right? Sometimes, not all the time, but I've always been on the side of, if we can just talk about it casually, right? These are games, these are entertainment, these are things that you can have opinions on, whether they're good opinions, bad opinions, whatever, but we can like agree to disagree. I've really always tried to do that. And just to kind of throw that out there, like, he's right. This is the kind of talk that should always be happening, right? Not threatening, not talking about like storming Deck 9, right? Like things like that are a no-go, but talking about it even passionately and saying like, hey, this would be a stupid decision. I feel like that's a fair game, right? These are important things to people, okay? And so I feel like that's totally cool. So I'm glad he's kind of on that side where it's like, as long as you're not, attacking or threatening, stuff like that, you're good to go. Again, the main thing I kind of want to focus on, well, two parts to it, right? Number one, it sounds like he's calling that first developer just a liar. Now, you could debate back and forth, but that thread talking about going back and forth inside Deck 9, and a lot of the studio thinks it's like morally evil to have picked Chloe. See, if that was true, that would not bode well, I think, for, and also, well, number one, let me just finish that thought, right? Would not bode well for double exposure. But I guess why? Well, I think it kind of just reinforces, or would reinforce, a theory or an idea that some people have that, Deck 9 just doesn't doesn't get it, right? They just won't understand Life is Strange 1, which I've actually always kind of been on the opposite side. I do think Deck 9 does understand Life is Strange. I believe that more than most people, but I guess I can be proven wrong, and trust me, I'm going to be pretty critical of this game. I'm replaying Life is Strange 1 right now, right? So I'm taking it all in, memorizing every minute detail. They got to understand it in order for me to sing their praises for Double Exposure. So I get that, right? Like, I want them to respect the first game. That's a huge, a potential problem or issue, or it's just something I want them to be able to do. And this got people scared. It really did, because if they think it's morally evil, it's like, man, and it kind of gets into just a whole different, almost subgenre that like Life is Strange isn't even a part of. So, I guess I'm glad that none of that stuff happened. Now, I guess who's the liar, right? Because one guy says that everybody in the studio, they would constantly go back to it, and the other person said that that's a load of garbage. So it's like, well, I mean, it either happened or it didn't happen, right? But again, I think the most important thing to me is the fact that this person works at Deck 9 right now, and he's interjecting himself into a conversation about Max and Chloe in Double Exposure. And he's talking about how things that would make you think she's not in the game is a load of garbage, and that, trust us, we wouldn't do anything like that, wink, wink, nod, nod. I don't know. I feel like that almost reinforces that she could be part of it. Now, the Twitter thread itself was kind of actually going back and forth of like, do you throw Chloe into one scene? Is she a big part of the game? And you just kind of keep it secret. We've kind of talked about that, right? I think it's very difficult to make the full game and have Chloe be a central figure. I think, is it something we would want? Probably. At least the people that like Chloe or kept her alive, right? But it's just in terms of how you make a video game and a game like this, there's no way you would almost completely make two different games, one of which you're respecting the choose Chloe ending and the other which you're not, right? And you're doing the opposite. I just don't think you would do that. Like, literally, I don't think you would program and design and make a game that would be that split, even from the jump, right? So my opinion is always she was just going to be in maybe a couple scenes. There was the rumor that maybe it's a phone call or a Zoom thing. Maybe she meets you at the end of the game physically. I'm all for that. I think that'd be beautiful. But, to have her be a central figure, I just don't think so. But that was the conversation, right? And then again, more of like not trusting Deck 9. And then this guy jumps in to kind of, calm those fears. So I don't know. I honestly, I walk away from that thread thinking that it's more possible that Chloe is, or like the respect, you know what I mean? That like, okay, if you think that they're not going to respect it, think again, because they will. I'm up for that. I want that, right? So hearing it almost inadvertently though, right? It's probably all they can say. They're not going to say Chloe's in or not in the game. Not right now. It's probably not going to happen until the game comes out. So we'll see what happens at the end of the day, but you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.